So I'll record this. That is the three modes of material nature. So, uh, so three modes of material nature are the one of the most important, I would say, uh, most critical topics to understand. So yesterday we spoke about the three mode. We spoke about the creation yesterday. So in creation, we saw that um, everything begins in creation with pradhana. If you remember yesterday's picture, I'll show that once again. Where is it? So, okay, okay. So I'll quickly recap what we spoke yesterday. So share screen, we go here, share. So if we go here, so basically Atma is pure. Now this Atma gets a covering called as Pradhana. This Pradhana is consisting of three modes of nature. Remember, material creation means three modes of nature. So, for example, we have this cable. So I have this cable in my hand. So, what is this? This is earth, water, fire, air, ether. But what is this? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Now, if you look at it, it may not be little, it may be a transparent on this side, but if you look at it, it is tamoguna mixed with ahankara. When tamoguna is mixed with ahankara, it makes earth, water, fire, air, ether. So it is basically a transformation of tamoguna. So everything we see in nature is a transformation of tamoguna, is a transformation of earth, water, fire, air, ether. So every jada vastu, including your own body, is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. And there is subtle elements, that is sound, touch, form, taste, smell. So everything that you have is actually made up of these different elements. And these elements are nothing but the transformation of the three modes of material nature. It's all tamoguna. So basically, this material creation, this gross creation is actually in tamoguna. So that is why when you look at somebody, you feel envious, or you get some, he is like that, he is like this is like that, this is like this. We have been doing this for eternity. For eternity we have been like this. So it is nothing but a play of the modes of nature. So that is why Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, in the first verse, it says, in the first verse of Bhagavatam, it says that Trisargo Mrisha. If one can purify his mind and see the play of modes of nature, it's like a puppet show. Somebody's body is dancing, and people go pay money and watch that movie. Somebody is dancing. It's just another puppet show. His physical body is moving around with some material feelings. controlled by lust, anger, and greed, and we pay money to watch that. It is nothing but a puppet show of blood, flesh, and stool. It is nothing but tamoguna in action. But ye pasyanna pashyati, it is said you see and you don't see. What you don't see, you don't see the soul. What you don't see, you don't see the mind. You don't see the controlling mechanism within. In a puppet show, you see the controlling mechanism. The strings are visible. In this material play, the strings are not visible. The strings are the three modes of nature. The strings are the three modes of nature. The three modes of nature are that which gradually convert. I was also thinking the three modes are converting, the three modes are controlling. It is because all the elements that you see, they emerge because of the actions of three modes. So from the sattva guna comes the mind, from the rajo guna comes the intelligence and the sense organs and the organs of action. And from the modes of nature and from the tamoguna comes out the elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. So everything is practically a play of the modes of material nature. But who can see this play? Who can see this dance of nature? Who can see this? Who can realize this dance of nature? That depends on an intelligent person whose mind is completely clear. So if you see, from the sattva guna comes the mind. That is the clue here in this picture. From sattva guna comes the mind. That's the thing. If mind is cleared, right now all of our minds are very, very disturbed. So if our mind is clear, then in the mode of goodness, you are able to see the other two modes. You can look from sattva guna to rajoguna. You can look from sattva guna you can look at rajoguna and tamoguna, but from rajoguna you cannot look at sattva guna. In the Bhagavad Gita there is a verse. It says that ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami yasyam jagarti bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. So that means, what is a day for the spiritualist is a night for the materialist. And what is night for the materialist, what is a day for the materialist is night for the spiritualist. What does it mean? So a devotee can understand the actions of non-devotees. We know meat eating is bad, drinking is bad, and now I'm seeing videos where people are lining up in queue in India for liquor. Because of all these days of lockdown, they were starving from liquor. You can imagine. I mean, that is the last thing when the world is facing such a calamity. Right now, it is a time to chant Hare Krishna. Right now, it is a time to go to our spiritual roots and root out the problem that we are having. But instead, as soon as it opens, now there are videos going viral everywhere saying how many people in India are going to liquor shops. So you can imagine. So one who is in Sattva he can see Rajoguna and Tamoguna. But one who is in Rajoguna, he cannot see Sattoguna. One who is in Tamoguna, he cannot see Rajoguna either. Or he can have glimpses of Rajoguna, but he cannot see Sattoguna. Now remember, even in our body, the subtle sees the gross. The subtle sees the gross. For example, your senses can see the body, but your body cannot see the senses. My legs cannot see see my face. The eyes can, the senses can see the body, but the body cannot see the senses. The mind can experience the body. The mind can see the senses. The mind can see the body, but the senses cannot see the mind. The senses cannot see the mind. And this hierarchy, this picture explains it all. You can experience earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? I can experience earth in different forms, jada, my car keys, my phone, all these things I can experience. But the jada can be experienced by the subtle, but the subtle cannot experience the gross. The subtle can experience the gross, I'm sorry, but the gross cannot see the subtle. So similarly, my intelligence considered sukshma to compare to the mind. So my intelligence can perceive the mind, because whenever you see something, the mind makes the desire and passes it to the intelligence processed by the ego. And the ego is the subtlest. If you see the hierarchy, so ahankar, ego, it is the subtlest of all material substance. But subtler than that is Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva. So that is Shuddha Sattva. So here what happens is your senses can see the body, the mind can see the senses and the body, the intelligence can see the mind and the senses and the body, the ego can see everything else except the soul. You cannot see the soul because the soul is the subtlest, number one. If none of us can see the soul, how will the soul be perceived? So how will the soul be perceived? It's very interesting to note that how will the soul be perceived? So who will perceive the soul? If subtle perceives the gross, it is said in a state of self-realization, the soul, which has its own senses, the soul has its own senses. The soul doesn't need the mind, intelligence to see itself, nor can your mind and intelligence see itself. Srila Prabhupada explains that when the soul awakens, its transcendental senses awakens. When the soul awakens, the transcendental senses of the soul awakens, and the soul sees itself. The soul sees itself. And Prabhupada says, at that point, when the soul awakens with his transcendental senses, he is able to see Paramatma within the heart with his transcendental senses. So seeing Paramatma, seeing the soul is not a material experience. So that is why they cannot be seen with your material senses. They can be experienced, but they cannot be seen. They cannot be perceived, but experienced in the sense you can experience consciousness. But this is perverted consciousness. Krishna consciousness means pure consciousness. Krishna consciousness means when you look at Krishna, you become aware, you fall in love. That's your object of love. That is Krishna consciousness. But now we are in material consciousness. Means what? We fall in love with material nature. So when you fall in love with material nature, so that is material consciousness. We have to fall in love with something, material or spiritual. That is our nature, to desire and to love. So that is our goal. Therefore, therefore, it is very, very important for us to study this creation very, very deeply and understand the intricacies. So remember, subtle perceives the gross. But very interesting is that the soul cannot be perceived when in anything. So how does the soul exist in the body? So the soul is 1/10,000 tip of hair, I explained yesterday, and the subtle body, your mind, intelligence, ego, is like a bubble. So can you imagine yourself in a bubble? So what happens to this bubble? So when you die, so when we die, whenever we die, whenever we die, this bubble is in the heart. The soul is in the heart. The soul, the mind, intelligence. So the mind, intelligence is like a small bubble in which there is the soul entrapped. उसको पैकेज करके इधर डालते हैं. That's why it says, Krishna says, uh, I am in the heart. Why? Because that is where the central. So the mind, intelligence, ego, prana, everything starts from the region of the heart. Now, this heart where the soul is, there is this bubble. So when you die, what happens is the soul just ploop comes out of this body. Now which place it comes out from, that depends on the tapasya. If you are a pure devotee of Krishna, then Krishna will come pick up or burst this bubble and liberate the soul. If not, you come out of, if a yogi, you come out from here. If you are not so advanced yogi, the bubble comes out from here, because the 7 chakras, they correspond to the 7 upper planetary systems. Bhur Bhuva Swaha, like we do Gayatri. Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Bhur Bhuva Swaha, they are gross. Swaha, Jana, Tapa, all these other lokas, including Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, they are all subtle, Sukshma. So Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitra Varenyam. So what happens is you are elevating the soul. So if you elevate yourself beyond Brahmaloka, then you go to the spiritual world. So that is why Krishna says, chant Om and remember me, or chant Hare Krishna and remember me. So a yogi, this bubble is in the heart. So a yogi, as he realizes the higher chakras, so he goes to where his consciousness is. For example, animals, their consciousness is the lower chakra because they are only interested in food and sex. But a yogi, humans have an opportunity. But like those who go to these liquor shops now, as you are seeing in these videos today, their chakra is at the lowest. So where will they go? Adho gachanti tamasa. So everything is a play of the mode. So the more you rise, urdhvam gacchati sattvastha. So if becoming devotee is the first step, but as a devotee, we should cultivate sattva guna. We should cultivate mode of goodness. And when we cultivate mode of goodness, gradually we rise. The yogi raises. His consciousness rises through the chakras, through the elements, because the grossest element, the lower chakra is earth, the second chakra is water, the third chakra, the stomach chakra, is where Vishnu is, Vaishwanara. Prabhupada explains that the third chakra, the Manipura chakra, is Lord Vishnu, Vaishwanara, Agni, and then he gradually raises. After that, Then there is fire, air. The heart chakra is where air is. Now, what does air do in your body? What is the function of air? Very interesting. I will tell you this, what Prabhupada says. I was amazed at what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said uh, that just like a leaf moves because of the force of air, in your body, blood and food moves because of the force of air. In your body, the blood and food moves because of movement of air. Then he goes on to say, thoughts in the body move because of the force of air. So your mind is in your heart region, okay? And your mind is where all your thoughts are emanating. But how is that thought converting into action? My hand hits somebody. How does the hand know it has to hit precisely at his? So the calculation is happening in the heart, in the mind, and the action is happening. Is there? Then you can. Uh, how does it know to hit anybody? So that calculation is happening in the mind, in the heart. But how is that thought being conveyed to the hand? That is movement of air, sukshma nadi. So there is channels of nadis which come out from, actually it starts, Lord Shiva explains in Shiva Samhita, and it is also explained in Uddhava Gita in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where these nadis, they come from the lower abdomen. It is said all your previous desires, they are all stored in the nadis, in the lower abdomen. So that is why bigger your belly, bigger your desire. Anyway, I'm joking. That's a diseased belly. So yogi's belly is small. So the nadis, they are called as kanda. There are 72,000 nadis according to Lord Shiva, and they emerge from the lower abdomen, and these nadis spread throughout the body. These are subtle nadis. So they, from the heart, the nadis connect. There is a wiring. It is like your computer CPU. It connects the mind subtly. The prana vayus connect the mind subtly with the nadis, and they spread throughout the body. So from the heart, when the thought comes, they spread throughout the body by the movement of air. And Prabhupada says, even mental problems are caused by movement of air. This is Ayurvedic. Ayurveda also treats all problems as Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So Vata, movement of air. So what happens when you eat more? Your pressure in the stomach is more. Then what happens? The whole body is trying to balance that pressure, and the pressure here is less. So when you eat too much, your body pressure changes. What happens? Your thought becomes weak. Your sharpness goes away. It is because all the pressure is in your belly. So the yogi always eats right. What happens if you eat less? It is fine. It is said, if you have a food and you are deciding whether to eat or not to eat, if you think it's confusing, better not to eat. Just like they say, in a marriage, you find somebody and you are thinking whether to marry or not, better not to marry. Because whenever that means the body cannot accept it fully. Similarly, the mind cannot accept fully. So whatever you are seeing, the physical food that is eating, that is for the body, but whatever subtle you see, you watch movie, you watch news, your mind is digesting. So there are two digestions taking place in your body. There is pitta in the stomach and pitta in the head. So be careful what you watch. Be careful what you think, because that digestion is also taking place. That is why if you have too many depressing thoughts, you are digesting too much depression also. So if you want to come out of depression, you should not think about depression, because whatever you are thinking, you are digesting. Whatever you are eating, you are digesting. Whatever you are eating, मैं ऐसे ही खा रहा हूँ, ऐसे टीवी देख रहा हूँ, पॉपकॉर्न खा रहा हूँ. It has to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere. So it has to go to the stomach. It has to go somewhere. Hmm? So similarly, the thought that we produce, ऐसे ही सोच रहा हूँ बैठ के time pass. Don't think anything is a time pass. Anything you think digests, it becomes a part of you. मैंने ऐसे ही टेस्ट करने के लिए शराब लिया, but it is said in Vedas, even if you drink alcohol from a pot that had alcohol, or even if you drink water from a pot that had alcohol, your Vedic knowledge is zero. That is why in Kali Yuga nobody is qualified. वैदिक मंत्र हम चैंट ही नहीं कर सकते. तो इस्कॉन में पहले हरे कृष्णा दीक्षा और फिर गायत्री दीक्षा क्यों देते हैं? सो व्हाई डू वी गिव हरे कृष्णा महामंत्र दीक्षा फर्स्ट एंड गायत्री लेटर? बिकॉज वी आर नॉट क्वालिफाइड टू चैंट any Vedic mantra in Kali Yuga. They say even if you drink water from a pot that had alcohol, your Vedic knowledge is zero. अरे सब लोगों ने शराब नहीं पिया तो कम से कम कफ सिरप तो पिया है. Every cough syrup has alcohol. So many products today have alcohol. You just drink it finished. You don't take bath once. Kali attacks you. We are in Kali Yuga lazy. We are super lazy. And we eat so many polluted foods. That oil that they give, you don't know whether it is animal oil or human oil. Just we see packet and we buy. They say refined oil. Usme kya hai pata nahi. Refined, they call it refined oil because it is all industrial waste put together, and they just remove the smell. Refine कर दिया, smell निकाल दिया, अच्छा दिख रहा है. खाने में it will kill you, but दिखने में अच्छा है. Just like they found, the World Health Organization found 60%, 60 to 70% of milk in India is not milk. It is just soap powder. 60% of milk in India. Can you imagine 60%? So much fake milk is produced in India. और इतना नकली दूध डालते हैं असली दूध में. This is how can you expect people to have a normal brain when what you are putting into your body is completely polluted? So anyway, so we are talking about mode of goodness. So that is why in Kali Yuga, if we cultivate some austerity, if we understand how much it is important to eat right, because the more whatever you put in your body, I fasted last 30 days. So yesterday was the last day. I mean, I will continue to reduce food now as Chandrayana, like I spoke about. But the more I eat, the more lazy and heavy I feel. I've been eating less, and yesterday when I broke the fast, I did not feel like eating more. मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगा कि चल आज पूरा पनीर दाल मखनी खाते हैं. No, paneer anyway I don't eat. It's horrible. If you are a devotee, we should not eat this paneer dishes. We should eat sattvic. Like even roti in India, rice and rice and roti. This was not staple. Indians used to eat millets for healthy food. Indians had very good eating habits. They used to drink pure milk from the cows. If you see Sukadeva Goswami, he only drank milk from the cows. So Indian cows, they were very giving, very powerful. So, and that nourishes the brain. So basically, Sattva Guna levels depend on our level of, so we have to come to Sattva Guna to see and not perform activities in the mode of Rajoguna or Tamoguna. So you have to connect with people in the mode of uh, goodness. So that is why they say association, sadhu sangha. So why? Because if the sadhu is only in the mode of sattva guna, सत्व गुना, अभी कोई डिवोटी का ड्रेस पहन के he is eating, what do you call that, Chinese, क्या है वो? If you go to any devotee program and they are making hot spicy this thing, you are associating directly with rajoguna. So I'm not blaming the food, but what are you associating with? Karanam guna sangasya sad asad yoni janmasu, 13th chapter, I think it's verse 8. Karanam guna sangasya sad asad yoni janmasu. Moment you come in contact with rajoguna in any form, you get the quality of that guna. It is like a string. Then it what happens? It cluck. It just like this coronavirus. जिसके पास कोरोना है, आप गए, उससे हाथ मिलाया, उससे, you know, that's what happened with this religious gathering in Delhi, right? So some 10,000 people were gathered, everybody was hugging and eating from each other's plate together, and then what happened? Everybody got corona. So similarly, that is called association, but that is tamasic association. But proper association means you associate with the sadhu. Why? Sadhu is in Shuddha Sattva. That's it. If you begin to see everything in this world as Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna, oh, this is in Rajo Guna, this is in Tamo Guna. So what they do, these Rakshasas, Prabhupada said, from the subterranean heavenly planets, from Bilvaswarga, they come here and they make Rajoguna a way of life. They make Rajoguna a way of life. And once they make Rajoguna a way of life, like these movies and everything. So, so they are making that the new normal. And because of that, what happens? When they make it the new normal, gradually, when they make it the new normal, gradually, we even lose sense of sattva guna. And this is what happened. This is what is happening to the so-called Hindus. Hindu means he should follow the Vedic philosophy. And what is happening? Instead of following the Vedic philosophy, our Hindus, now we see there is long lines for liquor. So what is that? Tamo guna. That's all I see. Now we should not worry about Hindu, Muslim. This is all external. But what do you see? He may be Hindu. He may be even a devotee. But if he's watching movie, what is he associating with? Rajoguna. Is that devotee? No. Devotees should not be in Rajoguna. So what should devotees be? Devotees should be in Sattva Guna. So devotee means Sattva Guna. So if you learn to see, this is something takes a little time. So you don't hate that person. You don't hate that. What is he following? He's following Rajoguna. So there might be Muslims who are actually vegetarians. I know one vegetarian I met in when I went to UK in February. I went to UK. I met one Muslim and he was a vegetarian, and he said he had a hard time with his family. And all his 4 or 5 kids, whatever they were, and his wife and everybody was meat. And he bought my book, Food for the Soul. And he said, this is one of the best books I've ever seen. He was a Muslim. So there are vegetarians. So who, is he better? Yes, he is better than all Hindus who eat meat. Because at least he's in Sattva Guna. So you might be Hindu, but if you eat meat, then what happens? You might have faith in something, but because you're in Rajoguna and Tamoguna, it's as good as atheism. Like in America, there are so many people who are vegans, and there are so many Hindus who eat meat. So many, they are so ethical. Like veganism, I can't stand the killing of animals. Like in Las Vegas, it's the Sin City, and there are about 15,000 vegans in a Facebook group that I am in. Amazing. They are at least conscious. But of course, then what happens in the name of veganism? The another problem is if people eat a lot of soya chunks, that is as good as animal food. Soya is not basically for brain. Soya is used to fatten the animals. You are what you eat. Aapka physical body. So our panchakosh, our physical body. What is the physical body made up of? What is our body made up of? Physical body made up of annam. Annamaya kosha. This body is made up of annam. So if you eat soya, your body also becomes like soya. The quality of what you eat is what you become. If I eat too much chili, मैं वैसे ही तीखा बन जाऊंगा. That is why Americans die of cancer in a big way. This coronavirus is spreading in America. Even people sitting at home, in the stay at home. Why? In the lockdown. Why? Because meat processing plants. Now it has found out, they have found out that most meat processing plants, all the workers have coronavirus because their immunity becomes weak when you're exposed to meat and sugar. Too much sugar, too much meat, you become weak. And although you're sitting at home because everybody is touching that meat is also weak. That coronavirus, it affects something with. So it's basically meat is another dead animal which has lost immunity, a freshly dead animal. So coronavirus enters into that meat. And then people eat that meat. See, in India, it will spread to non-veg people very, very fast, you will see. In America, the WHO is saying the report that it will spread to non-vegetarians very, very fast. Because it's entering into the dead meat. And they are trying to hide this fact. So basically what is happening is Rajoguna has its consequences, Tamoguna has its consequences. So devotee means we should not be in Rajoguna. We should not eat too much spicy foods. Prabhupada says in 17th chapter, what is the three purposes of food? Anybody knows the three purposes of food? So the three purposes of food are Ayusham, Tejam, Arogyam. Ayusham, to increase the duration of life. Tejam, to purify the mind. Arogyam, and to purify the mind and to increase physical strength. Physical strength increase karna is the third. But increase duration of life. So if you eat the wrong food, what happens? Decrease duration of life. ऐसा चिल्ली मंचूरी सब खाएंगे तो वसी के तरह हो जाएंगे. Tejam, intelligence. You want sharp intelligence to study Bhagavatam, then you should eat a pure sattvic diet. You want to control your senses, you want to control the desire for material enjoyment, you want freedom from attraction, then we should be very, very careful. And we should only associate with Sattva Guna. That should be our goal. So in this way, in this world, for example, the early morning is in Sattva Guna, afternoon is in Rajoguna, and the night is in Tamoguna. So therefore a yogi rises early and that environment itself gives him Sattva Guna. The three sandhyas, they are in Sattva Guna. So temples, clean, pure temples are meant to be in Sattva Guna. So temple should not become like business homes. So temple is Sattva Guna. You can convert your house into a temple. That is what devotees are meant to do. So you have to keep it clean, you have to eat proper food, offer food to Krishna, you have to have loving heart. Sattva Guna is very, 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 very critical. To become sattvic. So a devotee means he is in Sattva Guna. So if we are a devotee and we are still attached to Rajoguna, it happens to us in the beginning stages. We eat this and we think this is okay. But as devotees, we should be very, very focused. We should offer Krishna always the purest sattvic food out of love. So when you offer Krishna sattvic and you eat sattvic, so then what happens? Prabhupada says, actually, it is said in the belly, in the Manipura chakra, there is Lord Vishnu as Vaishwanara. Prabhupada explains that your stomach is also a yagya kunda, and this yagya becomes complete when you eat food cooked with ghee. Prabhupada said that. The basic norm of sattva guna is to eat food cooked in ghee only. And the only oil allowed in Ayurveda is till oil, not refined oil, vegetable oil, ये oil, वो oil. वो तो ऑयल है ही नहीं. तिल से जो आता है वो तेल कहलाता है. तिलस्य इति तैल, प्योर sesame oil. Everything else is coconut oil is the last thing that is allowed. Otherwise, it is not oil. जैसे you get this Haldiram ka foods and all. That is all palm oil. Palm oil is like diesel. You are putting diesel into your belly. Diesel खा रहे हैं. So if you want sattva guna, you should eat sattvic foods. ये बाहर का ये chips, karram, kurram, this is all low class oils. Mass production. There is no cleanliness. And you are directly ingesting and to preserve so that there are no bugs in this Haldiram. I'm not against Haldiram, but any packed food. They add fertilizer, they add pesticides, not fertilizer, pesticides. That's why in between they were banned. But you know, Indian government, you can ban, you can pay anybody, and the ban is gone. So this is Kali Yuga. They want to poison you in your food. So devotee has to eat from scratch. So that is why yesterday in the group I shared the video of barley soup. For example, barley, it controls all the tridosha. So like that, we have to eat food that is sattvic only. We should practice in the mode of sattva. Very attentively chant. So when you cultivate sattva in all your activities, eventually you become sattva. Shuddha sattva. We want to go to Shuddha sattva. So we should not associate with Rajoguna and Tamoguna. We should not associate with Rajoguna or Tamoguna. So gradually a devotee who wants to progress, all his mood, all his activities, food, lifestyle, diet, association, everything should be sattvic. We are not against anybody, but we only want to associate with sattva guna. And when you associate with sattva guna over a period of time, rajoguna and tamoguna are gone. If you have read, like yesterday I was asking everybody to read third canto, chapter 26 and 27. And that is what we should try to study. So if you read chapter 26 and 27, you will find that the more you associate with sattva, Prabhupada explains in the, I think it's verse 25, kind of, that when in the 26th chapter, that when rajoguna and tamoguna are eliminated, only sattva remains. That is Shuddha Sattva. And then you automatically gain knowledge. Why is some devotees advanced and some devotees not advanced? They are where they are. That is because of Rajoguna pulls you down. That's it. You do not see the string, but it is Rajoguna that is pulling you down. Sattva immediately liberates you. So if a devotee remembers this much, I have to elevate myself to Sattva. That's it. Then the string is better. It is like you have a cycle to go somewhere and then you get a car. So towards the spiritual path, if a devotee is in Rajoguna, we might be devotees. So that is why in the Bhagavatam, there is example of devotees in Tamoguna, that is Daksha Prajapati, he loses his head. Then there is Rajoguna, that is Dhruva Maharaj, who still has to maintain a kingdom because of Rajoguna. He had a desire before he prayed to Krishna. And then Sattva is Prithu Maharaj. And then Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva. So Shuddha Sattva is, so what is Shuddha Sattva? So Shuddha Sattva means it is pure Sattva Guna. So when a devotee continuously avoids associating with the Rajoguna, with Tamoguna, and he sets himself in Sattva Guna. If you see the Chatur Varna, they are based on Guna, not birth. Anyone can become Brahmana, provided he comes to Sattva Guna. Means he should have that full lifestyle of Sattva Guna. So Prabhupada wanted devotees, Brahmin Diksha ke liye first you have to come to Sattva Guna. That's it. ऐसा नहीं है दीक्षा लिया 1 साल हो गया अभी ब्राह्मण दीक्षा लेना है. No. We have to come to Sattva Guna. Our mind has to become completely clear to chant the Gayatri. We cannot chant Vedic mantra like I said, but because you chant Hare Krishna, you become adhikari. You get adhikar to chant Gayatri. And then you can chant because the holy name creates Satyuga. Satyuga means mode of goodness. That's it. It's all the play of 3 modes. Now it is simply mode of passion and mode of ignorance. That's all. It is just the play of 3 modes of nature. So that is why this understanding creation is so important. Understanding the gunas is so important. Then we don't confuse ye devotee as I, o devotee as I. No. A devotee who is progressing is in Sattva Guna. If he is not in Sattva Guna, he is not progressing or is trying to progress. The results are not yet there. Of course, we are with all devotees, but we have to associate with those devotees who are in Sattva Guna. We have to give association to devotees and we have to struggle together, but our struggle should be an intelligent one. And we should simply try to progress more and more towards Sattva Guna with agreement with each other. It is not that abhi bhakti vriksha ho gaya, chalo Chinese खाते हैं, मंचूरी खाते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं. This is all not Sattva Guna. We may have higher knowledge, but then our activities are forced. We begin to think like Rajoguna. So if you want real control of the mind, then Sattva Guna is very, very important. That's how we progress. Okay, I will stop here. And we have some time for questions, comments. Please, if anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the only first part, this, I did not understand. From subtle, from gross to subtle, like body, then senses. I am just confused between the mind, intelligence, and false ego. Like, what is that order of that subtle, this?
So if you see the Panchakosha, so that is why there is explanation of Panchakosha. So Panchakosha is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya.
Yeah.
So if you see, first is gross body, and
Yes.
then comes above the body is senses. Oh, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Indriyani Paranyahu, that senses are higher than the body. Indriyebhya Param Manaha.
Yeah.
That higher than the senses is the mind. Manasastu para buddhe.
Yeah.
That subtler than the mind is the intelligence. Yo buddher parasastu saha. So the ego. So the saha means two. That is the soul and the ego. Because the soul, the consciousness of the soul is reflected in the ego on the material platform. Okay? So
false ego is the most subtle of these subtle elements.
Yes. So that is why in the creation you find everything comes from ahankar, ego, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. That's how it is.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Good question. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One question.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen in Bhagavatam and also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that by Ananya Bhakti or by Mam cha vibicharena bhakti yogena sevate. we come
Saguna.
to Sattva Guna.
Uh,
And also, I have not come across a point where by Sattva Guna, Bhakti may have been generated. So, is it that, and also we have experience in our life that by in the beginning, immediately we came out of the lower modes by experience of Shravanam.
okay.
So,
I am not
yeah, so
saying
I
that
was thinking that,
Sattva generates bhakti. I am saying that devotees have to progress towards Shuddha Sattva. So
yeah,
what
so is
happens?
it, my question was, is it a natural process of Shravanam or Bhakti that it leads to Sattva Guna? Something like that.
Also assisted by diet and lifestyle. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, that is
Okay.
So the thing is, as devotees, for example, now we are living in, let me give you a simple example. As devotees, when we work full time, right? We are all working. So when you go to office, right? You have to deal with boss, you have to deal with people, this, that, correct?
yeah.
And you have to deal with Rajoguna. You have to deal with that stress, tension, and everything. Hmm? And of course, you have to eat whatever is available and you have to run with that, right? So that is all comes in the category of Rajoguna. Agree?
Yeah.
That affects our quality of chanting.
Hmm.
I'll give you another example.
Yes.
One devotee friend of mine here, who was living in Indianapolis in US in Northeastern, he saw I was preaching, he cultivated, we cultivated, and I am just focusing on full-time preaching. Although I'm in America, I was full-time in the temple. My focus, I want to make a living just by teaching yoga and doing these classes and doing this fasting and all these things. That's all I live with. I don't want to work in this, in these Rajasic, Tamasic places. So then what happens? This man, and so any of us, when we go through these Bombay trains and this and that, and you are seeing all this Rajoguna, Tamoguna, you digest it with your mind. So what happens at that time is this is slowing down our sadhana in the long run. What Prabhupada wanted was devotees come to more sattvic life, make their own community, make their own economy. And this is why Prabhupada gave the concept of Gita Nagari. So for example, in some places, in America also, devotees have started their own software, companies or whatever, I'm not saying software is the solution. But one example where only devotees are there. So you are working in association with the devotees. That is something. So the association matters a lot. So when you are working outside with karmi factories, there have been a lot of devotees even in the US who have quit working because of so much of that. Like one devotee, one very big devotee from New York, who is from Bombay actually. He was working in one place and they started dealing with the stocks of this company, these movie companies, including Playboy and everything. He quit because he said he had to deal with so much rajas. So the problem today's devotees face is, only thing is we have to work with the diet. Like for example, how many of us cook in ghee? As Prabhupada said, right? So how many of us, because he said in the stomach there is Vishnu and the yagya is complete only by Sattva-guna. So the point is that as devotees, we have to gradually raise to the level of Sattva-guna. So the point about creation is, it is trying to tell us is, all the qualities of Sattva-guna will be achieved when we situate ourselves in Sattva-guna. Like for example, we are doing this. So if you take for example Radhanath Maharaj immediately, as soon as he came to know about Krishna consciousness, he stopped everything else and he dedicated himself to that. Only exposing himself. Like our chanting is, or our hearing, how long do we do in a day? I'm asking you. So maybe 2 to 3 hours, right? Chanting, hearing.
2 to 3.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
What about the rest 18 hours or so, correct? So what happens in that is, depending on that lifestyle that you have, to that degree you cultivate Rajoguna or Tamoguna. So as devotees, if all or most of the time, so what you eat is also a meditation, is also an act of sattva guna. So we have to eat according to our body. So we have to eat fresh, we have to eat sattvic diets. This affects your mind a lot. You see your quality of chanting. So our quality of chanting should actually, by chanting, Gaur Govind Maharaj says you should have tears in our eyes, hair should stand on end. If that is not happening, there is something wrong. So basically that effect will come, and your thought process will completely change. Hearing and chanting, yes, is the critical activity, but at the same time we have the rest 18 hours to deal with. So that lifestyle of sleeping, waking up, eating, this is all critical, that goes into how clearly that instructions can be digested within our system. So I hope that answers the question, or let me know.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So any other quick questions? Anybody has any comments? Please let me know.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you spoke about Chandrayaan fasting yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to ask whether in one lecture I was hearing that if that there in devotional life there is no need to perform such severe extreme type of austerities, and Chandrayaan fasting, it seems like it is very austere, and I even heard that such type of extreme austerities leads one to Gyan Marg, and too little austerities leads one to Karma Kand Marg. So in bhakti we have to maintain a balance of both. So how far is this Chandrayaan austerity valid in spiritual life?
I can say for myself, I have lived in temples for 10 to 20 years. Okay. I would say 10 years of my last 20 years I have lived in temples. And most of them are sick. Most devotees have so many health problems. And they go to doctor. And most of them go to doctor. There are fights. If you see the politics in the temple, right? Do you experience some politics in all temples? Yes or no? Tell me. Right?
Yes.
So is that healthy? If we are in actual marg, we should not be doing any politics. Even in GBC, there is politics and fight. So the thing is, Chandrayaan is not extreme. I know one yogi, devotee yogi in America, very powerful yogi who inspired. He lives on water for 1 month. He is not going crazy with that. He is very deep in his practice. I have not seen anybody chant Gayatri with such silence that he does. Every year for Kartik month, he is without water. He chants almost 8 hours a day. He chants completely on water. He's completely just focusing on Krishna. Now that you can call extreme austerity, or you can call it sattva-guna. So the thing is, Chandrayana is gradual reduction of food. For example, I see this Govinda's, menu from one of our Indian temples. I won't say which temple. Somebody puts on Facebook. Chinese manchuri, this manchuri, that manchuri, this, that, paneer butter masala. I'm sure many places there is this. So I'm not saying that we have to do something extreme, but yet we have to eat sattvic. And Chandrayana, we gradually fast. And if you see, most of our festivals, we have to fast. Now, for example,
Yes.
Ekadashi. One devotee was making a joke. He said, it is a holy French Friday. मतलब French fry खाने का दिन है. आलू खाने का दिन है. Which Ekadashi book states to eat aloo? Ekadashi, it is said, if you fast three days in every 15 days, or even in a month, if you can fast 36 hours, you will never get cancer. But if we do not even fast on Ekadashi, Prabhupada did not, in America, I realized why Prabhupada said, don't eat, but to do this preaching in America, because at that time, in America, people were going out on Sankirtan to sell books 8 to 10 hours a day, out on the hot sun, jumping, dancing, with such a heavy, or phir kuch nahi khayenge, they were young people. So Prabhupada said, okay, eat, but for that circumstance. We are just going to office, or we are just sitting at home or something like that. It's not even austere. At least we can minimize or reduce to water or juices for our lifestyle. So if you actually see the Sattvic definition of austerity, so in Chandrayaan, you don't fast like all of a sudden. You reduce by 1/15th portion only. So literally for 10 days, you are gradually reducing. You are giving up night eating. I'll tell you one example that inspired me, or that forced me to think in terms of austerities. I met one Malaysian, one sadhu from Malaysia, one sannyasi. Now he is sannyasi, I guess. Sannyasi, or he was a sannyas candidate in airport. I was in an airport. All of a sudden, I was chanting on my beads. This sannyasi comes up. Said, Hare Krishna Prabhu, nice to see you. I was looking for a devotee. He's a nice devotee. And I saw you are chanting, so let's sit and talk. So he was telling me about his life. And he said when he was a little boy, his parents left him in the temple in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur or somewhere. I don't know the exact place. And he said he was young boy and he was very addicted to eating. And he was only eating that Mahaprasad plate, was like eating. He said, Prabhu, food, prasadam, you can eat as much as you want. There is no problem. So I was eating. He got a tumor in his throat because of the kind of eating habit that he had developed. And he said they had to cut it. He showed me the slash here. I was shocked. He said, Prabhu, always be careful in prasadam. Like gulab jamun, we say, is ISKCON bullets. Because in the Prabhupada saw these were drug addicts. So they needed something heavy. So sugar is like cocaine. Prabhupada attracted, of course, Prabhupada is transcendental. But they needed something like that, something special. But it is not that he encouraged people to eat gulab jamun all the time. Like I told you about paneer. And Radha Govind Maharaj told me that paneer, Prabhupada said, it is only to attract the meat eaters. That you put this paneer with a little salt. It is poison. But he said, I have to attract the meat eaters. They need to feel something like meat. Now, if devotees eat this regularly, Radha Govind Maharaj said, you are still continuing Rajoguna. This is Radha Govind Maharaj told me. I was shocked. After that, I quit paneer because every festival, paneer ka sabji kidhar hai. Right? So this happens. Sometimes we think this is normal. This is not. We are not talking about extreme austerity. But if you see Radhesham Prabhu also, when he is writing his books, and I was seeing he was taking only little boiled vegetables, because he was doing a very extreme tapasya. So the thing is, the lighter we eat, if you do one austerity, one Chandrayana, I'm seeing most of the devotees I connected, most of the people who are in this present batch, they are all devotees. Everyone has n number of health problems because of eating so many different things. I analyzed each person's diet individually. So with Chandrayana diet, I sit with each one for 2 to 3 hours, analyzing what problems they have. So many health issues. They're all devotees. What do? They go to doctor. That is another thing. Why ingest chemicals? Ayurveda says food is medicine. So what we do in Chandrayana is we introduce medicinal food. We get into a habit of healthy eating. How many of us eat sprouts every day? Sprouts is the best. How many of us eat millets regularly? Right? So the healthy option, we just eat rice, dal, sabji. White rice was not staple Indian food. Rice was eaten by farmers who do a lot of physical work. That is why in India, type 2 diabetes is very heavy now because of eating too much white rice. But what does Ayurveda recommend? Red rice. Ayurveda says white rice is not good. And white rice is polished rice. They remove the bran and give you the rice. Just like in America, they give you the milk after taking all the fat. 60% to 70% of milk in India is actually chemical. So the point what we do in our Chandrayaan is I educate the devotees about healthy diet, but we are addicted to bad diets. So we gradually change the pattern, but first you have to come out. So we gradually reduce. So literally first 4 or 5 days you are not, or the last 5 6 days. But what we do is the first 4 or 5 days you gradually reduce, and then you get more on fruits as much as you like. So I give a schedule. I know the devotee schedule. So Ekadashi we focus maximum only fruits, because the best Ekadashi is simply nothing, nirja. Most of us cannot do and should not do because we are in Rajasic body. The body will go at a shock. So we do water, fluids. Then we do, if not that, then we take fruit juices and then fruits. So, but cooked food is actually, how can you cook in the same pot that had grain? It will never go 100%, even if you wash. There is some amount of grain. So if you really want to do Ekadashi,
Yes.
it has to be only fruit, So in this way, I focus on purity. So then what we do is we gradually reduce, and on the new moon, Ekadashi to new moon, that is the best time to chant, deepen. And believe me, the more you come to Sattva-guna, your hunger, it is said, if you are really feeling hungry, you drink 1 glass of water. And you see, if after 10 minutes you still feel hungry, that is genuine hunger. So what I do is I give devotees this kind of test so that we don't overeat. What you eat depends on your lifespan and your health. So in the second half, I put the devotees on more like sprouts, more like simple diet, sama rice, or millets, ragi, all these different things. So then they realize once you eat this kind of food, how much your body needs. It said our stomach is only 1 fistful. So maximum we should eat 1.5 fistful. That's it. But how much do we eat? So basically we have addicted. So basically we have to come out of overeating, because that is affecting our bhakti. So the thing is, if we understand these austerities, but we apply them according to Vaishnava principles. So that is my goal. Like I do astrology. But when I do astrology, I don't tell them go worship Skanda or worship Shiva. I mean, Shiva is Vaishnava. But all the 9 planets in astrology, their lord is Krishna. Every planet, their lord is Krishna. And 9 avatars of Krishna. For example, Mars is Narsimha, Mercury is Buddha, Surya is Rama. So when I see the chart, I tell the devotees, for example, many had Mangal Dosh, many were having marriage problems. This was 10-15 years ago. When they had Kuja Dosh, I told them to worship Narsimha. And after some time, I checked their chart. The Kuja Dosha was gone by worshipping Lord Narsimha. So how I apply this Chandrayana is not like that hard version. So what I am doing is these sciences, these Vedic sciences are there. And for example, Jiva Goswami wrote a commentary on grammar, on Sanskrit grammar, but he added only Krishna's names to it. Why do we need grammar? But he added grammar with Krishna's name so that we remember everything according to Krishna's names. So similarly, what I do with Chandrayana is we add diet in such a way that we become healthy, but at the same time, we focus more time and more quality of chanting. That is my goal. So from whatever health issues you have, I devise a plan according to the health issues. Gradually reduce. We and in that I do 10 sessions with them, yoga and japa, yoga, meditation, japa, all 3 sessions. And my goal is to help them able to chant 16 rounds at least in a focused manner and have their good eating habits for a long run, wants to have a sattvic lifestyle. So in this way, if you understand it correctly, we don't apply the Vedic version. I understand your point. So we don't apply that version, which is very tough. But we apply here a devotee version in such a way that all of us are benefited, So that's the goal. I hope that answers. Huh?
Yes, bro.
Okay, so any other quick questions, comments before we end for today? All right, so thank you all so much. So we'll stop here for today. And Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavandaki. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So I will see you all tomorrow once again. Thank you all so much for joining. It is so I'm a Konkani, so I come from Bangalore. So it is so our Kuldevi is also in Goa. I think I don't remember the name right now. Somewhere close to Mapsa. Kurteri Mahamai. Yeah. So yeah, somebody wanted to speak. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hari Bol. Prabhuji, once class in Kokani.
One class in Konkani, yes. So we'll probably over the weekend we'll do in Konkani. All of your Konkanis here or what?
No.
No, not all of your Konkani. Okay, so we'll keep a separate Konkani class. We'll announce before, huh? So because not
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you.
Then we'll have to fast.
That's a good one. Okay, I'm actually so happy to see all of you, and especially from Goa. So for me, Goa is very close, very beautiful place. So hopefully, once this lockdown is over, in my next India trip, I'll definitely come to Goa. All right, thank you all so much. So see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.